Young minds are often filled with curiosity, innocence, and dreams. However, there exists a darker side, a path that leads to criminality, violence, and moral transgressions. In this video, we'll uncover the stories of 10 kids who crossed that line, leaving an indelible mark on history. 10. Craig Price, the Rhode Island Nightmare. Craig Chandler Price, born October 11, 1973, is an American serial killer who committed his crimes in Warwick, Rhode Island, between the ages of 13 and 15. He was arrested in 1989 for 4 murders committed in his neighborhood, including a woman and her 2 daughters that year, and the murder of another woman 2 years earlier. Price had a prior criminal record for petty theft. He calmly confessed to his crimes after being discovered and was arrested a month before his 16th birthday. Tried and convicted as a minor, he was set to be released and his record sealed when he turned 21. However, his release was delayed due to further crimes committed while in prison. Price's case prompted changes in state law regarding the trial of juveniles as adults for serious crimes, though these changes could not be retroactively applied to him. Citizens opposed to the release of Craig. Price advocated for his continued imprisonment, citing the brutality of his crimes and concerns about his rehabilitation potential. Price's incarceration was marked by additional charges, including criminal contempt, extortion, assault, and probation violations, resulting in an additional 10 to 25-year sentence. He holds the distinction of being the youngest serial killer in U.S. history. 9. Lionel Tate, a tragic playdate. Lionel Alexander Tate, born January 30th, 1987, holds the infamous distinction of being the youngest American citizen ever sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, although this sentence was later overturned. His case garnered widespread attention due to its tragic and shocking nature. In January 2001, when Tate was just 13 years old, he was convicted of first-degree murder for the brutal beating death of 6-year-old Tiffany Unick in Broward County, Florida, which occurred in 1999. The circumstances surrounding Tiffany's death and Tate's young age at the time of the crime sparked intense debate about juvenile justice and the appropriate punishment for minors who commit serious offenses. Tate's case raised questions about the capacity of juveniles to understand the consequences of their actions and their potential for rehabilitation. Ultimately, his sentence was overturned, highlighting the complexities of sentencing juvenile offenders to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. 8. Brenda Spencer, the school shooter. The Cleveland Elementary School shooting was a school shooting that took place on January 29, 1979, at Grover Cleveland Elementary School in San Diego, California, United States. The principal and a custodian were killed. 8 children and police officer Robert Robb were injured. A 16-year-old girl, Brenda Spencer, who lived in a house across the street from the school, was convicted of the shootings. Charged as an adult, she pleaded guilty to 2 counts of murder and assault with a deadly weapon, resulting in her being sentenced to life in prison with a chance of parole after 25 years. As of 2024, she is still in prison. A reporter reached Spencer by phone while she was still in the house after the shooting and asked her why she committed the crime. She reportedly answered, "I don't like Mondays. This livens up the day," which inspired Bob Geldof and Johnny Fingers to write the Boomtown Rats song, "I Don't Like Mondays." 7. Cindy Collier and Shirley Wolf, a deadly duo. Cindy Collier and Shirley Wolf are 2 American nurses who gained notoriety due to their involvement in a series of murders at a Texas hospital in the 1980s. They worked at the Veterans Affairs Medical Center in Kerrville, Texas. Collier was a licensed vocational nurse, and Wolf was a registered nurse. Between 1981 and 1982, a string of suspicious deaths occurred at the hospital, primarily among elderly patients. Investigations revealed that Collier and Wolf were responsible for the deaths of at least 10 patients by administering lethal doses of drugs such as succinylcholine, a muscle relaxant. They were believed to have committed the murders for various reasons, including seeking attention, excitement, and a sense of power. The case gained significant media attention and sparked widespread shock and outrage. Collier and Wolfe were eventually arrested and charged with multiple counts of murder. In 1984, both women were convicted and sentenced to prison. Collier received a life sentence, while Wolfe received a 20-year sentence. The Collier and Wolfe case highlighted the dangers of healthcare workers abusing their positions of trust and the importance of thorough background checks, oversight in medical facilities to prevent such tragedies from occurring again. 6. John Venables and Robert Thompson. The Bulger case. On February 12, 1993 in Merseyside, two 10-year-old boys, Robert Thompson, born in August 23, 1982, and John Venables, born in August 13, 1982, abducted, tortured, and murdered a 2-year-old boy, James Patrick Bulger. Thompson and Venables led Bulger away from the New Strand shopping center in Bootle after his mother had taken her eyes off him momentarily. His mutilated body was found on a railway line 2.5 miles, 4 kilometers, away in Walton, Liverpool, 2 days later. Thompson and Venables were charged on February 1993 with abduction and murder. They were found guilty on November 24th, making them the youngest convicted murderers in modern U.S. history. They were sentenced to indefinite detention at Her Majesty's pleasure and remained in custody until a parole board decision in June 2001 recommended their release on a lifelong license at age 18. Venables was sent to prison in 2010 for breaching the terms of his license, was released on parole again in 2013, and in November 2017 was again sent to prison for possessing child sexual abuse images on his computer. He remains in prison in 2023 after his appeals for parole were rejected. The Bulger case has prompted widespread debate about how to handle young offenders when they are sentenced or released from custody. 5. Joshua Phillips, a neighbor's nightmare. Joshua Earl Patrick Phillips, born March 17, 1984, is an American who was convicted of murder as a child. In November 1998, when he was 14 years old, Phillips killed Maddie Clifton, his 8-year-old friend and neighbor. The following year, he was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Phillips stated that he killed Clifton to stop her from crying after she was accidentally struck with a baseball while they were playing, and that he feared punishment from his abusive father. Although elements of Phillips's story are disputed, officials who were involved in his prosecution have subsequently expressed contrition over the severity of his sentence. Phillips is eligible for resentencing in 2023. 4. Alyssa Bustamante, a Missouri tragedy. Elizabeth Olton was a 9-year-old who was murdered by her neighbor Alyssa Bustamante, who was 15 at the time, in St. Martins, Missouri, on October 21, 2009. Bustamante lured Olton into the woods before strangling and stabbing her to death. Bustamante murdered Olton simply due to homicidal ideation and to see what it was like to kill someone. She was later indicted and pled guilty to second-degree murder and armed criminal action, and was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of conditional release in 2024 for second-degree murder. However, due to her additional conviction of armed criminal action, even if she is granted conditional release in 2024, she will have a consecutive sentence of 30 years in prison. This makes her earliest probable release in 2054, when she will be 60 years old. 3. Jesse Pomeroy, the Boston boy fiend. Pomeroy's case is notable not only for his young age at the time of his crimes, but also for the suspicion that he may have been a serial killer. Born on November 29, 1859, Pomeroy gained infamy as a convicted American murderer. His case marked him as the youngest person in the history of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to be convicted of murder in the first degree. Pomeroy's conviction came after a jury trial held in the Supreme Judicial Court of Suffolk County in December 1874. The details of his crimes shocked the community, and the severity of his actions drew significant attention to the case. Additionally, Pomeroy's behavior and the circumstances surrounding the murders led authorities to suspect that he may have been involved in other unsolved cases, thus earning him the label of a suspected serial killer. The case of Jesse Harding Pomeroy remains a subject of interest for scholars, historians, and those interested in criminal psychology due to its complexities and the young age of the perpetrator involved. It serves as a reminder of the capacity for violence even in individuals who are seemingly too young to comprehend the consequences of their actions. 2. Eric Smith, a brutal murder in New York. Eric M. Smith was, born in January 22, 1980, an American murderer. Eric M. Smith's case gained significant attention due to the brutal nature of his crime and his young age at the time of the murder. The tragic event took place in Steuben County, New York, on August 2, 1993, when Smith, then only 13 years old, tortured and murdered 4-year-old Derek Joseph Roby. Smith was subsequently convicted of second-degree murder in 1994 and was sentenced to the maximum term then available for juvenile murderers, which was 9 years to life in prison. Despite his young age at the time of the crime, Smith's actions shocked the community and led to widespread discussion about juvenile justice and rehabilitation. After spending 27 years in prison, Smith was granted parole in October 2021. He was officially released from prison in February 2022, sparking debates and controversy about the effectiveness of the justice system in handling cases involving juvenile offenders and the possibility of rehabilitation after such heinous crimes. 1. Mary Bell, the innocence shattered. Mary Flora Bell, born May 26, 1957, is an Englishwoman who, as a juvenile, killed 2 preschool-age boys in Scotswood, an inner suburb of Newcastle upon Tyne, in 1968. Bell committed her first killing when she was 10 years old. In both instances, Bell informed her victim that he had a sore throat, which she would massage before proceeding to strangle him. Bell was convicted of manslaughter in relation to both killings in December 1968, in a trial held at Newcastle Assizes when she was 11 years old, and in which her actions were judged to have been committed under diminished responsibility. She is Britain's youngest female killer and was diagnosed with a psychopathic personality disorder prior to her trial. Her alleged accomplice in at least one of the killings, 13-year-old Norma Joyce Bell, no relation, was acquitted of all charges. Bell was released from custody in 1980 at the age of 23. A lifelong court order granted her anonymity, which has since been extended to protect the identity of her daughter and granddaughter. She has since lived under a series of pseudonyms. Conclusion: these cases serve as stark reminders that even young individuals can commit heinous acts. As we explore their lives, we must seek answers, understanding, and prevention. Let us learn from their darkness to protect the innocence that still exists in our world. Thank you for joining us on this chilling journey through history. If you found this content intriguing, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, stay curious.